The times are changing. Well, Michael Wiseman of Scipio gave us some ideas of how they're changing. We're at the Broadband TV event. You made some interesting points just, about how the youth of today aren't the same way we are in terms of viewing patterns and how they use content. So why don't you give us an overview of what you're talking about?
Yeah, the main thing is that the video market is exploding and video consumption is exploding, but the nature of how we consume video is changing. So in the old days, you used to have linear TV, and what that meant is, as a telco, you would send the same signal to all the subscribers, and that would use a lot less capacity. Today, over half of the traffic is what they call unicast, and what that means is that it is ad hoc content coming in a way that's unpredictable for the telcos. And as the younger generation is using more mobile devices, think like an iPad or something like that. A Retina iPad is a 4K device, and services like Netflix can stream at that Ultra HD rate, and that has huge implications to how the telcos need to provision their networks to support that kind of capability.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about that, how they provision their networks, because in the past it would have been traditional DSL, maybe fiber to the home if they could, but now there's this G.fast. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where we are with G.fast?
Yeah, so G.fast is a technology that's been created by the ITU, which created DSL, and the standard has been fully ratified and approved, and now companies like Scipio, we're the leader in G.fast modems. We are working with the equipment companies to build complete solutions that are being brought into the telcos. So many telcos today are trialing both in lab and in the field actual production grade equipment, and we'll start rolling out towards the end of the year and into next year.
It promises a lot of bandwidth, right?
Yeah, G.fast supports up to 1 gig over your existing copper infrastructure.
And one of the things that I think you saw at today's panel, a lot of questions, even applications in rural areas, whether it be MDUs or maybe even as a drop in a long drop.
Yeah, originally G.fast was designed for 100 meters or 150 meters, but in our own trials with labs, Scipio is showing we can generate 150 megabits at 500 meters, which is at least double what was anticipated out of the standard. And we're not done in the optimization. We think we can get another 20% out of that. And what that means is that people can apply G.fast in more sparse or rural environments and do that at an incredibly low cost per megabit delivered.
One of the things that is really interesting about this is you kind of have this coming in at the same time, and really kind of a convergence of what they're calling software-defined networking, right? So tell us kind of the interplay between those.
Yeah, so one of the big challenges that telcos have is every box is got a different proprietary management, and if you want to provision, it's very challenging to do so. Now, in this environment where these the number of devices and the nature of the network is dynamic and it's changing all of the time, you're going to need to configure these networks very, very quickly to different use cases and different behaviors. Software-defined networks allows the telcos to treat the entire network as a single switch, for example, and to be able to control devices. Well, G.fast is closer to the home than a DSLAM. So there will be more, probably by an order of magnitude, more DPU devices than there are DSLAMs. So the number of devices to manage is going to be critical. And we're at that inflection point where you're going to replace this infrastructure anyway. Let's bring in the software-defined networks and make something of that. So a couple weeks ago, we did a proof of concept demo with AT&T, Owen Lab, PMC, and ourselves to show end-to-end SDN all the way from really from the head end all the way to a virtualized CPE running over G.fast, supporting NetConf Yang, supporting OpenFlow, all of the SDN components that the Broadband Forum has dictated that we need to support.
One of the things that I think you mentioned in your presentation is just how rapidly this is happening compared to maybe other deployments in years past. What are kind of your thoughts as far as when will this become real product?
Well, yeah, I think that the Broadband Forum has a interop process. We're already in that process, so we're actually doing hardware interop. And I think that we will have fully interoperable, approved, certified products in the spring of next year that have gone through the complete process, but we will have large-scale field trials as early as this fall.
Wow, so maybe by the end of 2016, we'll actually see some deployments of this technology.
Large-scale deployments. I think that there will be huge deployments by the end of next year, for sure.
And one of the reasons, of course, is that the consumers can self-install this stuff, right?
Yeah, one of the big problems that telcos have is a shortage of installers. You know, when you do a fiber to the home end-to-end, you have trenching issues, you have right-of-way issues, you have scheduling with the consumer when they're going to be home, making sure that there's enough resource to actually go and do the in-home installation. There's a lot of friction in that process. With G.fast, we have enough capacity in a self-install environment that literally you can just send somebody the CPE, or in some cases they already have a CPE that will support it with an SFP, a small form factor pluggable, and you literally will just mail them a device no bigger than my finger, and they'll just plug it in the back of their existing gateway, plug in their phone line in, and they're done. And so this is going to be a tremendous OpEx and CapEx improvement for the telcos.
Wow, that's very exciting, and I appreciate your time here at the Broadband TV event.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.